Hey guys, and welcome to Property Investment News Update. I'm Alegre-Wood, and today is Wednesday the 13th of May 2015. So the UK general election, it all turned out actually better than we could have hoped. And there's lots of talk about hung parliaments and second elections, but in actual fact it worked out perfectly. So the Conservatives got a majority, 330 seats. Labor pretty much bombed Scotland, they got wiped out. Lib Dems got wiped out. And Scottish National Party come through as the second major party. So realistically, they pretty much decimated the Liberal Democrats. Now, what does that mean? It means Conservatives can write laws, they can do all the sorts of things. So the biggest thing for that is that we now have certainty. And the great thing about that certainty, certainty is so essential. The whole reason prices drop at a really fast pace is because people lose certainty. When people lose certainty, they stop buying, and effectively prices drop. So now with added certainty, majority government's actually even better than we expected. Okay. Now I'm not going to go too much into the election. We'll cover a few stories, but if you want to have a read of it, then I've got my ypc-group.com/UK-election-2015, and I've got a video specifically on what the effects of the that decision or that outcome will be. So have a watch of that video. It's about a 10-minute video that will explain that to you. UKIP rejects Nigel Farages' resignation. Basically, they don't want him to go. He did such a good performance, and I have to say, UKIP did extremely well with about 3 to 3.5 million votes, which is actually more than the entire Scottish National Party won. They got 56 seats, and UKIP got 1. So it's one of these things where, unfortunately, that's how the voting works and the counting works. He lost his seat, but they're basically saying don't resign. He has resigned. Will he be back? I think he will. He made an incredible impact. And my point here is not that I necessarily agree with all of these saying, but it's always good to have somebody that's questioning what the ruling party is doing. It's always good to, and that's where the two-party system should work, but it doesn't quite work out that way. But having someone like this who really does go way out there, and some of the things that they talk about, I think, are too far out there. And, it's not mainstream, it's not able to run the country. But it's good to have that constant thought in the background. So we'll see if he comes back. Cameron victory sees house price boom on horizon as estate agents predict bun fight over top-end homes. And we're talking, prices are expected to rise 10%, and 20% across the UK. It's like, wow, that's amazing. Will that happen? No. I think what it is it's the media and it's estate agents jumping on the bandwagon, trying to drum up more business. Do I actually think it's going to mean this much of a growth? I don't. I think the reality is the fundamentals are good in the UK. I think the fundamentals are very good. I think certainly London, house prices are up quite high. There is confidence coming back. There is certainty coming back. So yes, I think they will go up. Do I think it's 10, 20%? We'll see. Okay. I don't think, it's not one of these things where you should just be jumping in because of the election. You jump in because of the fundamentals, you jump in because you see the opportunity, and there's still always the reasons. Forget what the media hype is doing, and look at what really matters, okay? So if you're buying in the areas, look at how much they've grown in the last 3 to 5 years. If you do that, and you see they've grown tremendously, the likelihood of continuing to grow like that, if it's a long-term play, fine. But that's why I'm still saying commuter belts, major cities with universities, the places with the best fundamentals. Do I think places will grow? Yes. I think this is the best outcome we possibly could have, and I think we'll all benefit from that. Another article in Telegraph, owning a home is falling out of fashion around the world. Now, for me, this is ridiculous. It's falling out of fashion. No, it's not falling out of fashion. The reality is we're getting married later. We're doing other things first. We're looking after ourselves first rather than getting married, having kids, settling down. And so what's actually happening is the demographics and the psychographics is changing. The problem is we're trying to apply an old model to what is the new world. And the reality is until we adjust that model and realize that actually people still want to own a home, but they're going to do other things first, it's not that they're falling out of fashion. I think this is just one of those, typical, articles that fills the space and, does the column inches and gets the advertising for the media. I don't actually think there's any base for it. I think if you ask anyone now, they would still dearly love to own their own home. It's not falling out of fashion, and I think the reality is, now the question is it getting harder? Yes, in a lot of places it is getting harder, okay? But the fundamentals are still there. I mean, in the UK, which is where we're talking, it's just been made a whole lot easier to get on the ladder, and people should be taking advantage of that. But the reality is they've still got to save 5%, and they may not be able to buy in their hometown where they want to buy. They may have to go suburbs out. That's always been the case, okay? So just ignore these sort of headlines. I think they're just there for column inches. UK house prices set to outperform London. Well, the reality is I think this is probably true, because what's happened now, we've seen London grow tremendously. I think we've seen that ripple effect coming out along the fundamentals lines: shops, schools, transport links, major employers, major investment. So follow that, and if you haven't got time to follow it, then just, talk to me, talk to the team, and we'll be able to explain what the areas are. I've got 118 areas that I'm writing effectively property investment guides for right now, okay? In those areas, I think they're the areas that you should be looking to invest in, okay? So you can jump on the website and find out about those. Okay. New home starts leap 63%. Now this is great news, because we've been building far too little homes, okay, for the population and for the demographics and all the changes. This is starting to pick up again. Of course it's going to happen, because we're coming out of the recession, things are looking up, prices are going up. So there's great things on the horizon, and this will ease some of that problem around people saying there's not enough homes and prices are just going to keep going up and up and up. Look, prices are going to keep going up and up, because there's nothing holding them down like a gold standard. It's a fiat currency, and in an inflation-driven where we're able to print money, quantitative easing, and because of that, prices are always going to be on the up, okay? Temporarily, the short term, yes, they can come down. But the reality is long term, they're going up, all right? So guys, have a great day, and remember, live with passion.